Hey everybody. So I'm Spencer. Okay, so opening this up. So we're HomeGrid. We were acquired by a group called Lithion last September. So one of our engineers has been in the battery game for about 20 years. He was one of the initial pioneers of lithium iron phosphate. And our approach, what we've been trying to do is we see the market shifting towards home microgrids. And we're in all 50 states now. We started in California. We've been trying to eliminate the critical load panel and streamlining the installation process and giving homeowners what we feel like what they're really looking for with battery backup, which is full home backup, full home microgrids, seamless transfer time. So we've been looking for really great partnerships in this market. We've got Savant, Solark, and now really great integration partners and distribution partners like Soligent, because we feel like the homeowners and the installers that we've worked with have been really happy to see, the installation process is really smooth and seamless, and the performance of the product is significantly higher than what they've used before. We're warehoused over in Henderson, Nevada. We just got a second warehouse. So essentially, we're shipping all of our manufacturing back to the US, and it'll probably be this year. We'll be assembling our stacked batteries here, and in the next 2 years, we'll begin working on a very large prismatic cell factory. So we're looking at probably sub 3 to 4 years, it'll be 100% American-made product.
Awesome. So that's kind of like a brief background on the company. My name is Jonah. I'm the sales manager for HomeGrid for North America right now. Brief background on the company, but what we do is we do batteries, and that's all that we do right now. So we try to focus on one thing and make sure that we are doing that really well. And just like Spencer said, we tried to design a battery not around what people have designed them around in the past, but around what people want from them now in the market, which is full home backup. They don't want to have to question what loads they can power. As a company, you can see on our company page here, we use lithium iron phosphate as a chemistry in our battery. And kind of as a brief history of battery chemistry, a lot of it started around mobile applications like laptops and phones for different lithium ion formulas like nickel, manganese, cobalt, or a few other ones, which were fantastic for mobile applications. But when it comes to larger storage, they're a little bit more unstable. I'm sure people are familiar with hearing about fires and safety recalls, and they tend to not last as long. So their advantage is that they're more mobile, but their performance is not as good, and they're a little bit more dangerous. And lithium iron phosphate is a chemistry that's kind of on the other end of that spectrum, where it's not necessarily ideal for something like a vehicle or phones or laptops because of its size and its weight initially. But it's a chemistry that shows virtually no thermal runaway, meaning that the risk of fire is essentially non-existent. And the lifespan is 1.5 to 2 times as long, with increased performance during that. So when it comes to residential and commercial and utility level storage, lithium iron phosphate is really the best chemistry to use for these projects. And that is exclusively the chemistry that we use in all of our batteries. For our products, we right now at HomeGrid do everything from smaller batteries like the compact series that's wall mounted, that is well suited for smaller homes, tiny homes, cabins. We've also seen a lot of applications for multi-family complexes and apartment buildings. People want to put a little battery in each apartment. Each of these is 5 kilowatt hours, and we can do up to 15 of them in parallel. And we have closed loop communications with a lot of the big inverters like Solark, Schneider, SMA, Victron, among a lot of others. So most of these guys, they've been really popular for us in the US for hunting cabins, tiny homes, RVs, and apartment and multifamily buildings. The advantage with this, and you'll see this with all of our batteries, is our output. A lot of these systems were designed around time of use, like both in their capacity and their output. So as an example, like Tesla and some other systems, they were designed around powering limited loads in the home for a limited period of time. And that's kind of where the battery industry has been up until this point. So even for these smaller batteries, which is the smallest one we manufacture, our output is at 5 kilowatts of continuous power, which is nearly double that of anyone else that's at this size battery. Our bread and butter is our next battery, which is our stack series right here. This is by far our most popular product for a number of reasons. Just like I mentioned that we tried to, when designing this, step back and take a look at what does somebody want from a battery system when it's paired with solar, as opposed to how can we just beat out other companies. We looked at it and we said, well, the number one thing that people need is high power output, meaning they can power their entire house or air conditioners or water pumps from the battery in case, you know, solar isn't producing or the grid is down. So this stack series battery can output up to 15 kilowatts of continuous power and up to 24 kilowatts of power for 10 seconds for a surge, which, to put that in perspective, is anywhere from 2 to 10 times the output of other batteries that are currently on the market. And one of the key points there is that 24 kilowatt surge for 10 seconds, which allows our battery to handle, you know, air conditioners turning on, air compressors, power tools, water pumps, and things like that, which is important both for on-grid and off-grid installs. Within that high power output, we also needed to have a capacity to match it. And I'll show a little quick preview video for how these go together. Each of our white modules is 4.8 kilowatt hours. They stack just like Legos. So the really nice thing is that there's no wiring in between the modules. It's just a male and female connector. And we can stack anywhere from 2 to 8 of those white modules in a single stack, which gives you a massive capacity range of 9.6 to 38.4 kilowatt hours. So within a single stack, we can fit up to 8 modules like you see here in this picture. And that's 38.4 kilowatt hours. And we can do up to 15 of these stacks in parallel. We've got 5 of them here at this installation. And so we actually use this battery because of its high power output and because of the massive capacity that we can fit in the space. We use this for everything from, you know, cabins and homes to small commercial installations that need larger output or larger capacity. So those were the two main points that we set out to design with the battery was, hey, we need high output and high capacity. So now we've got that. We also wanted to make it really modular, which offers us a number of advantages. So like I mentioned, these are like Legos. So the install process is extremely easy. The only wiring is from the top BMS to the inverter. So for a lot of our installers that are experienced, like they've done 1 or 2, the install process only takes 20 minutes for a single stack series battery. So we're very confident when we say that there's a 30-minute installation for each stack battery, which is a large cost savings, especially when you're looking at a lot of other brands out there that their commissioning takes anywhere from 1 to 10 hours, depending on the brand and the process. So really easy installation. And the second point with that is that we've made it really easy to upgrade. We have a lot of clients and customers, and this is kind of what we heard, when we were looking at the design of this battery, is that people wanted the ability to upgrade their capacity later. Batteries can be expensive, and a lot of people have a budget to start out at a certain level, but in the future, they know they want full home backup or they want to be able to grow their battery. And with other brands, the feedback that we got was that you have to go through a whole nother installation process. So for us, because they're just like Legos, all a homeowner installer has to do is purchase another module and toss it on top of the stack, something that takes 15 to 20 minutes to do. And they've just expanded their battery capacity because we can fit up to 8 of those in a single stack. So in summary, those are kind of the main points. The installation is so easy. We don't have a certification course. If you look at our quick install guide or watch the 4-minute install video, you can do it. It's just stacking big bricks and red to red, black to black. So in summary, we had a really high power output, meaning we can power anywhere from 2 to 10 times what other batteries can do in a home. We have a very high capacity, meaning we could store a lot of power for a long time. And we've made a really fast install. So a sub 30-minute installation and a sub 30-minute expansion if somebody wants to grow their battery capacity. And that's kind of why, you know, we've been able to grow this battery so quickly, is because once again, we try to take a step back and say, what do people want from a battery? Not how can we redesign, you know, batteries that are currently on the market. So we also have a couple other of additional products that are based on that model. The integrated series is something that we designed in conjunction with Solark. See if get this load here. So the integrated series is something that we designed to fit on top of the Stack Series battery. It's a cabinet that will house a Solark 12K or 15K in the top. It just allows for a more concise installation. We just started shipping this product. And so it does come with the 4-aught cable that's used to connect the battery to the inverter. And so it makes the installation a little bit easier, but it also provides a more concise aesthetic for homeowners and installers to use. The last product that we have to show you is the power block, where once again, we've combined the capability of our batteries with the capability of Solark inverters, which are the only inverters that can fully utilize our systems. And what this is a large weatherproof temperature controlled system that we can fit up to 4 full Stack Series batteries inside. So all the way up to 153.6 kilowatt hours. And we can mount up to 3 Solark inverters on the outside of it to get up to a 45 kilowatt AC discharge. So we've tried to realize, hey, now we can utilize a Stack Series battery for small commercial installs, a lot of which dictate that this goes outside the building. And so this is a structure that can be mounted on a concrete pad to use for those installs. So that's kind of it in summary, you know, for our brand and for the products that we have right now, is that we wanted to take the bottleneck off of batteries in these solar systems and say that now our battery can handle any loads, any capacity. We're fantastic for massive luxury homes or small off-grid cabins out in the middle of nowhere. And we've been able to do really well in any area.
And I just wanted to mention to everybody that we have the Stack Series units in stock in our warehouses. So you should have no problem getting product from any of your Soligent account managers.
Oh, we actually have one question from Peter. It says, with people moving to vehicles such as the Ford Lightning, how does the system interact with their whole home systems?
That's a great question. So our battery is DC coupled, meaning that we need to be used with an inverter such as Solark or Schneider, like a hybrid inverter that can accept a DC battery current. And those systems are typically where that integration comes in for EV charging, for input output. Right now, a lot of inverter brands are still working on a solution to handle, you know, how that input from like the Ford Lightning will go back to the home easily, because right now there's not a quick solution for it. But in terms of the integration of like the exact power flow in the home, we rely on fantastic companies like Solark to handle that power distribution and EV charging.
And then we have another question. Any thought of adding L3 DC charging on top of the stack?
Not right now. Level three charging can get pretty crazy. So it's something that we do with, we have a sister company called Gridbox at a very larger scale. So typically like 20-foot shipping containers that are full of our lithium iron phosphate cells. And those are typically the only products that can handle, and this isn't specific to our battery, but that size is typically what's required for level 3 charging. Just because of the sheer amount of current and power that's required to push all that to the vehicles at level 3. So level 2, some of them are increasing in terms of their specifications, but those are still pulling AC power. In terms of pulling that much DC current, the only systems that really make sense are our larger grid box products for commercial installs.
Another question, are you on the approved SGIP list here in California?
Yes, we are. We've done a lot to support that program. I'm sure if somebody's asking the question, they're familiar with the amount of work that goes into getting registered in that as a developer or as a vendor. But we are registered with them with Solark inverters to be used, and we have a number of installations through them. So I know one of the advantages for us as well is our inventory that we have. And this is something that, obviously Soligent has access to. Right now, we typically try to keep about 4,000 of those stack series battery modules in stock and about 1,000 of the BMS bases, so the tops and bottoms for that unit. And so having a lead time of 2 weeks on any size order has been very helpful, where we've actually seen a lot of our batteries and Solarks being used to replace old Tesla systems that have been reserved in SGIP, and they're not able to get the product in time, and they're worried about losing their SGIP reservation. So excellent option, both as a replacement for equipment that you're not able to get for that program, or to use for new projects. Lower level 3 due to no loss in the inverter, like spark charge in the photo. Almost all resi battery storage systems have an EV on site. That's very true. It totally depends. Like lower level 3 is totally possible. It's something that we could look at integrating in. If you have somebody that you'd like us to look at, that's one of our things that has allowed us to grow so fast. Is if you guys have feedback on the battery or any suggestions for partnerships, it's something we can move on very quickly. So if you have somebody that is open to integrating to a DC charger, we can look at working with that company and integrating with them. Right now, it's not something that we've done, but be more than happy to.
Next question is, if a homeowner already has Tesla power walls, do you see any issues with adding them of them adding your product with the inverter? So no, you can AC couple. The Solark is extremely versatile, so you can AC couple the Solark and our stacked battery onto virtually any system. So no problems there. If you want a detailed explanation on how to do so, Solark has a lot of one-line diagrams with most of the leading, batteries out there or other inverters out there. So we can definitely showcase that. So kind of a quick recap on this. We do feel like this is by far the best battery solution on the market. There's some decent batteries out there that have, high specs, but don't have the same bankability. But when you compare everything and when you look at, all the different factors that people are looking for when they buy a battery, number one, high output. It can really do your full home versus just being able to do fridge and lights and, small appliances. This is a 15 kilowatt continuous with a 500 amp surge, which works seamlessly with a 15K Solark inverter. The modularity is extremely nice. So you can customize it to your project. It doesn't cap out. You can do virtually any home with well over 500 kilowatt hours. It's outdoor rated. The aesthetics are great. One big thing as well, we have a lot of inventory. We have over 1,000 units in our warehouse in Henderson. We ship quick. We're very, very competitive on price point, and we have great partnerships, with Soligent. So we can ship around the country. So all in, we don't feel like this is just a great off-grid battery or a great battery for luxury homes. We feel like if you're selling another battery, unless they're looking for some very discounted product, if they don't care about warranty and they really only need it to last a couple of years, then this is by far the best battery solution.
Spencer, in the chat, there was a question about depth of discharge, like the intended cycle rating and depth of discharge. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, we're anticipating these are tier 1 prismatic cells. These are the best, automotive grade lithium iron phosphate battery cells that you can get. And they anticipate about 7,000 cycles. So under the right conditions, 15 to 20 years. Depth of discharge is 100%. You don't want, so we recommend, just so you don't run into any issues ever, doing 90%, keeping 10% in there. But it can do 100% depth of discharge. And lithium iron phosphate doesn't have the same problems as, the cobalt-based batteries, the NMC batteries, where if you are depleting it down to 0, there's going to be significant, reduction on lifespan. Whereas lithium iron phosphate, especially these tier 1 automotive grade batteries, they'll last a lot longer, even with full discharge.
Yeah, so our warranty is 4,000 cycles or 10 years, whichever comes first. And we warranty a 100% depth of discharge. So for each of those cycles or the entire lifespan of the battery, within that warranty, you can use 100% of the battery. Oftentimes we recommend that people use 80 to 90%, just because even though we warranty that amount, if you want this to last 15, 20 years, we'd recommend setting it to 80 to 90% depth of discharge. And at the end of that 10 years or 4,000 cycles for the warranty, we guarantee at least a 60% state of health. But typically we see about half that reduction in the testing that we've done. So after about 10 years of use of the battery, simulated 10 years of use, we typically see about a 15 to 20% reduction in the state of health. If you guys have any clients or companies that would like sales support or individual trainings, it's something we're always want to help out with. I think with our specifications, the way we've designed this, we feel like we're kind of competing with the grid, and our goal is just to help the industry as a whole. So if there's anything we can help out with individual trainings, sales support, anything else like that, or install training, please let us know.
And for anyone looking to order, you can either email myself or Kelsey with marketing at Soligent, so that we can get you associated with an account manager.
One more question that came in. Are there any special training requirements to be an installer?
There are not. There's not. You will, in most states, you do need a C10 or an electrician license to pull the permit. But no, we don't have any special university or course that you need to go through. I am building out a quiz to help answer some of the questions, make sure people are fully aware of what they need to do. But honestly, watching that 4-minute video on our website on how to install it and then reading the quick install guide should answer almost all of the questions.
Yeah, and all of our batteries right now ship with a QR code that's on the outside of the box and on the inside of one of the side panels on the battery. And if you scan that, it brings up the little 4-minute install video and the quick install guide. But it's something where, before the first install, we're also more than willing to schedule a call and hop on a video call with you on your first site. That way we just, we can make sure that you're completely comfortable with it. But it's very, very easy system to install, very hard to mess up. And if you're following that quick install guide, you'll be totally fine.
Okay, sounds great. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for
Bye.
having us on. Cheers.